Welcome to the ESPN studios. I'm Eric Clemens. Thanks for joining us tonight for Game 6 of the NBA Finals. The San Antonio Spurs hold a 3-2 lead over the New Jersey Nets and are one victory away from their second NBA championship over the past 4 years. The series now shifts back to Texas tonight for Game 6 after 3 low-scoring and at times very ugly games in New Jersey. In Game 5 on Friday, the Spurs got a total team effort in getting the victory. Malik Rose, Manu Ginobili, and veteran Steve Kerr all contributed off the bench in the 93-83 win. But once again, it was a league MVP, Tim Duncan, who led the way for San Antonio. Duncan, who's leading the Spurs in points, rebounds, assists, and blocks, had 29 points and 17 boards in Game 5. The last person to lead their respective team in all major categories in the finals was the great Michael Jordan. Now, the New Jersey Nets come into Game 6 with heavy odds against them. No team has ever won Games 6 and 7 on the road in the NBA Finals. The Nets are being held to a finals record low 79.8 points per game in this series. And for the Nets to be successful tonight, their star players, namely Jason Kidd and Kenyon Martin, need to step it up big time. Martin has been the main catalyst for the Nets in this series, but in Game 5, playing with the flu, he had only 4 points in 38 minutes of action and was visibly not himself. New Jersey will absolutely need a healthy Kenyon Martin if it's to have any chance of extending this series to a 7th and deciding game. Should be an interesting contest at the SBC Center where the Spurs and Nets are ready to tip it up in Texas. Game 6 of the NBA Finals on ESPN. Mark Brown and Rick Weitzman are standing by with the call of the action for you. Enjoy the game, everybody, and don't forget to join us at halftime for SportsCenter in-game. Game 6 of the NBA Finals coming your way in just a few moments right here on ESPN. Enjoy the game, everyone.
Just moments away from the start of Game 6 of the NBA Finals here on ESPN from SBC Center in San Antonio, Texas, where the Spurs will try to close this one out in 6 games. Mark Brown along with Rick Weitzman. The Spurs took game number 5 and with it a 3-2 series lead, just 1 win away from their second all-time NBA title. And of course, the fans in San Antonio are hoping to celebrate this one live because when they won back in '99, that one was clinched in New York in 5 games over the Knicks. So it could be a special moment tonight in San Antonio, or it could be a special moment on Wednesday night because Game 7 will be right here in this building as well. And of course, the guy that it has all been built around is the great Tim Duncan, who has won back-to-back MVP awards. As we look at the Nets coming off their team bus just a little while ago. And, of course, they will be trying to stop this man here, Tim Duncan.
Well, he's not only been the MVP in the regular season, he's been absolutely the MVP of the entire playoffs. He has adjusted to everything that the Nets have tried to do against him, whether it be double teams or single straight-up man-to-man. He's made shots. He's passed, he's rebounded, he's done it all.
Outstanding numbers for him, really among the top playoff and finals performances really ever when you look at the balance of the rebounding numbers and the points per game. And then you throw in the fact that he is the leading assist man in the finals for his team and in the postseason. Tim Duncan truly doing it all and averaging almost 5 blocks a game. As for Kidd, he's had to do it all, maybe too much.
Absolutely. He realized in Game 5 that his teammates hadn't scored enough points prior to, so he took it on his shoulders to come out shooting the basketball. He got his job done. He scored points. He was willing to put the team on his shoulders. The team just didn't climb on.
Well, games 1 through 4, he averaged 17 points a game. Mixed in there was a 30-point effort. Now, Game 5 was 29 points, but it wasn't nearly enough. He's always stuffing the stat sheet, but he hasn't been able to get those other players to come along for the ride. He clearly needs a better effort out of his sick Kenyon Martin tonight. And also, of course, Jefferson and Kittles need to come up with something. Now, Steve Kerr gave him some great minutes in the 4th quarter and helping to win Game 5.
How great a story is this? 37-year-old Steve Kerr on the bench for 40-something minutes, comes in, plays essentially the last 9 minutes of the 4th quarter and turns the game around. He makes jump shots, he creates steals, he gets it done.
And again, the minutes have been few and far between. He's been called on only several times and only for a few minutes of of the time in this postseason. But he has come up with the crucial plays when needed. He made all of his shots from the field. He had that steal you saw in Kenyon Martin and was absolutely instrumental in holding off that final Nets run in game number 5. As a result, the Spurs have a chance to win the NBA title on their home floor. Game 6 is coming up on ESPN. Well, it has come to a do-or-die situation for the New Jersey Nets. Their second straight year representing the Eastern Conference of the NBA Finals. And they are down 3 games to 2 at the hands of the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs needing just one more win to clinch the NBA title. And, of course, Kenyon Martin has been so great throughout this postseason. But in Game 5, he was sick, and it showed.
He was sick off the court, and he looked sick on the court, too. He just didn't get the job done. His numbers were way, way down. He played minutes, but he just wasn't into the game physically, and that affected him mentally as well. They need a full, all-out effort from Kmart tonight.
And, of course, you see what you don't see there is the most important thing, the lack of production, only 4 points. He did rebound. He got 9 of those, and then the huge number, he had 8 turnovers by himself, 8 of the 16 total team turnovers, including 3 in a row in a key stretch in the fourth quarter. Now, a guy who a lot of people were criticizing in games 1 through 3 has stepped it up the last 2, and that is Richard Jefferson.
He has stepped it up, and he's done so by being aggressive offensively. He's decided to take the ball to the basket, and with his athleticism and strength, he can do that, and it is very, very effective. And obviously, they will need that kind of effort from Richard Jefferson as well tonight.
And we take a look at what he did in the fourth quarter of the Game 5. He almost brought it all the way back. 11 of his 19 points came in the fourth quarter. He went to the line for 6 free throw attempts. He made all 3 of his shots. It just wasn't enough as the Spurs were able to hold off that Richard Jefferson New Jersey Nets charge down the stretch to set up what could be an NBA title clinching game tonight. Game 6 of the NBA Finals is next on ESPN.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome back to San Antonio and the beautiful SBC Center for tonight's Game 6 of the NBA Finals between the Eastern Conference champions, New Jersey Nets, and your Western Conference champions, San Antonio Spurs. Here is the starting lineup for New Jersey. At 1 forward, 6'9", from Cincinnati, number 6, Kenyon Martin. The other forward, 6'7", from Arizona, number 24, Richard Jefferson. Starting at 1 guard, 6'4", for the University of California, number 5, Jason Kidd. And the other guard, 6'5", from Villanova, number 30, Kerry Kittles. And at center for New Jersey, 7 foot, from Stanford, number 35, Jason Collins. The head coach for New Jersey, Byron Scott.
For this.
Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? The starting lineup for your Western Conference champion, San Antonio Spurs. And he starts at 1 forward, 7 foot, from Wake Forest University, 21, Tim Duncan. At the other forward, 6'7", from Cal State Fullerton, number 12, Bruce Bowen. Starting at 1 guard, 6'8" from the Oak Hill Academy, number 3, Steven Jackson. At the other guard, 6'2", from Paris, number 9, Tony Parker. And appearing in his final playoff series, starting at center, 7'1", from the U.S. Naval Academy, 5'0", David Robinson. Head coach for the Spurs, Greg Popovich.
To say this crowd is supercharged would be the understatement of the year. Game 6, Nets and Spurs.
And now another look at those starting lineups. Of course, it's Kidd and Kittles in the backcourt, Kenyon Martin, Jason Collins, and Richard Jefferson up front. They'd also need a whole lot of help from their bench, and they haven't always got it in this series.
Well, you know Jason Kidd's going to come to play. The other guys, and he needs all of the other guys to produce tonight.
And, of course, Parker and Jackson in the backcourt. Bowen, Robinson, and Duncan. David Robinson could be playing the final game of his wonderful NBA career. He loves to finish it off with another NBA title. He helped Tim Duncan to that first ever Spurs title back in '99. And some people have said there's an asterisk next to it because it was in a lockout-shortened season.
No asterisk needed. They played the same number of playoff games as anybody else. This guy is a legitimate super player in the history of the game.
An officer, ensign from the Naval Academy, and of course a gentleman and an NBA superstar. He has won just about every award that there is to win in the NBA, including an NBA title, one of the top 50 players, a 10-time All-Star. He's been an MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. He's led the league in scoring and rebounding and blocks, all on different occasions. And now he can become a two-time NBA champion. And in this year's playoffs, Game 6 has been the charm for the Spurs. Each of the previous 3 rounds, they have won in 6 games.
You know, one last fact about David Robinson, he has played all of his career in San Antonio. And in today's NBA, there is definitely something to be said about that.
Ready to tip things off, David Robinson and Jason Collins will jump it up. Dan Crawford, Bob Delaney, and Ron Gerritsen are the officials tonight. It will be Danny Crawford to make the opening toss.
And the officials have been too much of a factor in the last couple of games. Let's hope that they are more or less invisible tonight and the game just flows.
Well, the Nets control the opening tip. This is Kenyon Martin working against Duncan. Misses the bank shot, but tipped back in by a high fly Richard Jefferson.
Well, obviously the Nets are going to be feeling some adrenaline to start out this game because they realize that this is it, that, you know, the cliche, the backs are to the wall and all that. They have got to come out quickly, and they have got to put points up on the board early and often.
Well, they force a turnover here. Richard Jefferson kicks it across the Kittles. Wide open 3. Jason Kidd makes it a 5-0 start for the Nets.
And Jason Kidd comes out, as he has in the previous couple of games, making his first shot. He has made several shots and then had a tendency to go cold.
Missing from the baseline was Jackson. Transition. Kittles takes it to the hole. Rebound, David Robinson.
Well, even though Kittles missed that layup, good sign for the Nets because they are able to get out and run. They have run in each of the 3 possessions, and that is a key, something they have not been able to accomplish in this series.
Mid-post for Tim Duncan. Draws the double. On top to Bruce Bowen. Down the lane. Missed on the runner. Multiple tips inside. And Jason Collins cannot track it down in time to take the possession, so it'll be Spurs ball.
Well, Bruce Bowen aggressively took the ball to the basket. He was met by some resistance. The Nets' big guys stepped in there to try to block the shot, and then there was a battle, and the Nets stayed with it on the offensive glass. On the defensive glass, they just couldn't control the rebound, and it goes back to the Spurs.
And this will go back to the Nets on the second turnover. That time thrown away by Steven Jackson.
Well, this has been an area where the Spurs have struggled in terms of turning the basketball over. They have done that too many times in this series.
Jason Kidd gives to Kenyon Martin. He is faced up going against Duncan. Can't get the roll on the jump hook.
Well, Kmart is being aggressive, looking for a shot, taking to the basket. He just hasn't been able to convert on the first two.
Drive and dish. Parker found David Robinson. The Spurs finally on the board. 2 minutes in.
And one of the things that go unnoticed about David Robinson, did you see where he was positioned when he received that pass? Virtually underneath the basket, causing his defender to make a decision, so his defender could not cover both the ball and David Robinson. Tony Parker with a good dish down.
And Robinson blocks a shot at the other end, denying Jason Collins. Always in the right place is the Admiral.
You know, his offensive skills have deteriorated some over the last couple of years, but not his defensive abilities. He's in the right place always at the right time.
Tough runner for the 7-footer Tim Duncan, but he gets it to go.
Yeah, that is a tough shot. He's going to his left, moving away from the basket, has to bring the basketball across his body and make the shot.
Jason Kidd drops it in for Kenyon Martin. Duncan keeping a watchful eye.
Too slow, though.
Gets to the hole. Blocked by the helping David Robinson. His second block in the first 3 minutes of game number 6. And we see a very quick substitution. Manu Ginobili has checked in. Greg Popovich clearly sending a message as he removes Steven Jackson.
Yeah, Ginobili is in very quickly. This is the earliest we've seen him.
Martin with a tough little runner.
See, Kmart on that previous possession took too much time deciding what he wanted to do. On this last, he caught it and went. And that's how you catch the defense off balance.
Tony Parker with the nice drive.
Tony Parker is so good when he gets into the paint. Normally shooting the ball, but as we saw earlier, dishing it down to David Robinson. He's so effective when he gets in the paint, and it's up to the Nets to keep him from penetrating.
Kenyon Martin from the top of the key hits the jumper. He looks much better. He has already equaled his scoring output from his flu-stricken Game 5 performance.
Yeah, he has come out determined and aggressive, and he's looking for his shot.
Ginobili, airballs the 3. Robinson tried to save it. Now, Ginobili's not used to being in this early.
Well, you can't help thinking back to Game 5 when, in that same situation, Duncan kicked it out to a wide-open Steve Kerr, who was able to make that shot.
Yeah, that's true.
And Ginobili has been good from the three-point range.
Maybe he just needs a few drives to get him going. Speaking of drives, Richard Jefferson to the baseline, sets up in the corner. Airballs the 3.
It looked like Richard Jefferson had the shot himself on a reverse. He elected to give it out to Kidd, and Kidd, I don't think, was expecting it.
David Robinson on the baseline. Collins to guard him. Down 3. Sweeping hook. Taken away by Kittles off the rebound.
And he's up the floor, but so are all the white shirts back on defense this time.
It has been a theme. The Spurs transition defense thwarting that Nets break. Missed by Martin.
Kmart electing to stay on the perimeter.
Tony Parker almost traveled, but got it out to Robinson. And a 3-second violation. They're going to get Tim Duncan, who checks his feet and says, I don't think I was in the lane.
Well, he's so comfortable around that post-up area that you very seldom see him get called for a 3-second area. You know, the big guys who play with their back to the basket understand exactly where the painted area is.
Gary Kittles gives to Kidd. Collins in a post-up. Will take the jumper. Another rebound for David Robinson.
Well, the Nets came out in this game crisp and aggressive, and in the last couple of minutes, that has all changed, and they've gone back to being a little indecisive.
Oh, great position down low. Duncan just turns around and drops it in.
Oh, that's easy offense when your big guy can establish position that deep and then catch the entry pass easily. That's a sure 2 points.
6:20 to play in the first quarter. Jefferson fading away and hitting in the lane.
And very similar here. Richard Jefferson able to catch when he was deep in the post, able to make his move and elevate up over and make the shot.
Well, Tony Parker brought it across half court, and his coach Greg Popovich wants a timeout. Nets are only up by 3 at the moment, but clearly the Spurs head coach not comfortable with the way that New Jersey has been able to operate against his Spurs team. 3-point lead for the Nets. 6:10 to play in the first quarter. New Jersey has led from the outset. They jumped out 5-0 here in Game 6, and San Antonio has since kept it a little bit closer. But what we've seen so far, Rick, is that Kenyon Martin and Richard Jefferson have gotten themselves involved very quickly. Coming up next week, the X Games Global Championship. Coming your way here on ESPN. Check the time in your area of the world.
Have a championship after just 3 years of being a head coach. I consider myself a good coach. But somewhere down the line, they'll hopefully put me in the same category as a Pat Riley.
So Byron Scott's always got the best effort out of Jason Kidd, but we've wondered would the other guys get involved, and what we've seen out of Kenyon Martin and Richard Jefferson's got to be a little encouraging.
Yeah, it does, and I mean, Richard Jefferson has continued his assault on the rim. Kenyon Martin has come out determined to be an integral part of the offense. Now Jason Kidd has got to step it up a little bit, I think, as does Kerry Kittles.
Yeah, we haven't seen Kittles involved yet. Hasn't scored. In fact, he's been in single digits in 4 of the 5 previous games. He did have one big outburst of 21 points in a loss.
And we have seen Lucius Harris playing a lot of minutes as a sub for Kerry Kittles. And once we see that, he's got to be involved in the offense as well.
Well, Kittles ripped down the miss by Bruce Bowen there. And a chance for the Nets to build on that 3-point lead now more than halfway through the first quarter of game number 6. Jason Kidd, tightly guarded by Parker, gives to Collins inside, runs into some traffic, and somehow scores over Tim Duncan.
Yeah, he got it up with the left hand. Jason Collins able to use that left hand as well as the right hand, which is an advantage for him. But the Nets still trying to run. They were able to run the first couple of possessions. They haven't been able to get out on the break since, because San Antonio has done a much better job getting back on defense.
Bruce Bowen fakes a few times and misses the little leaner. And Kidd bringing it up quickly. Martin may have gotten away with a foul there on Bruce Bowen, but no whistle. Kerry Kittles to the baseline. Gives to a cutting Collins, who dunks it home.
Yeah, that's a nice drop-down pass from Kittle to Jason Collins. And if they can get some offense out of the center position, that will be a huge plus for New Jersey.
Right.
Now, you did mention that Kenyon Martin has been staying out of foul trouble so far. That is a very big key for the Nets. He's been in foul trouble every game, and they need him to play about 40 to 45 minutes in this one. In the last game, Jason Kidd played all 48 minutes, and you can expect that again tonight, I would think. But Kmart has got to get up there in minutes as well, and the only way he can do that is by staying out of foul trouble.
Yeah, and Kidd sat for only 1 minute of the previous game, so he played 95 of a possible 96 minutes coming into this game, and he may go 48 again, as you said. Malik Rose is into the game. He has replaced David Robinson. He rips a rebound down quickly. Steven Jackson also back in after being benched in the early going. Down low, Duncan has it stripped away, but a foul. Martin was there, and so was Kerry Kittles.
Well, Kerry Kittles came over from the weak side, but that was a terrific entry pass, leading Duncan away from the initial defender and into Kerry Kittles, but by that time Kittles had to foul.
And Duncan gets the free throw. He's got 5 quick points. That leads everybody here in the early going.
And it's always quiet points by Tim Duncan. Never really loud points, but very effective.
That's right. I'm not saying he's old, but it is like Old Man River. He just keeps rolling along and piling up points and rebounds.
Yeah, and all of a sudden at the end of the night, he's got 26, 29 points and 15, 16 rebounds and a handful of assists and block shots, and you say to yourself, where did he get them all?
Well, the officials finally talked this one over and have rewarded the basketball to the Nets. 1 of 2 on that trip for Tim Duncan. 4 minutes, 20 seconds to play in the first quarter. Jason Kidd handling, gives to the high post, gets it back from Jefferson. Wants the turnaround on the baseline. Jackson the long rebound, pushing it up quickly. 4-on-3, Ginobili. It'll be a reach-in foul on Jason Kidd.
Well, turning the tables, the Spurs out and running on their fast break, catching the Nets in a little lapse in transition defense. Nice drop-down pass to the wing. Ginobili goes up strong and gets fouled. You know what has been surprising thus far in the series, at least for me, and Jason Kidd has had some games with big numbers, but overall, Tony Parker, I think, has done a terrific job defending Jason Kidd.
Yeah, he certainly has. There have been 2 games where kids put up real big numbers, and of course one of them was in a loss, but for the most part he has not shot a good percentage in any game. His best game was the last one, and when he was 10 of 23, still well under 50%.
Now, Kidd is not a great shooter by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, if he's getting good opportunities, he's going to make the shots. He's not getting good looks, and that's why his shooting percentage is not so good, because Parker is not allowing that.
A rare successful outside jumper in this series for Richard Jefferson.
Yeah, I think that's the first perimeter jump shot that Jefferson has made in the last 3 games.
Yeah, I just can't remember one. Parker misses an open look. Jefferson the rebound. It goes quickly out. Kidd in no hurry gets to the free throw line and hits the pull-up. It's a 9-point lead, largest of the game so far.
Well, Kidd was in no hurry because he didn't have any numbers, and he didn't have anybody running with him on the left wing, so he slowed it up and decided, I might as well take this one myself.
Nets haven't shot 40% in any game in this series so far, 47% tonight. Duncan on a second chance off the Rose miss, and he's got 7.
He's just so efficient from any place on the floor. He knows his capabilities. He knows his range. He never takes a shot outside of his range.
It is incredible. And the range is pretty good.
Yeah.
For a 7-footer, it's amazing.
Absolutely. For a big guy. And
well, Kenyon Martin stopped to argue or make a point to an official. Manu Ginobili just reached in and took the ball away. And then Martin committed a foul. So a little unraveling here by the Nets, and Byron Scott may be upset with the call, but you got to be upset with your player a little bit.
Not a good foul by any means, and those are the kinds of fouls that Kenyon Martin has got to avoid. Watch right here. He just pushes
Malik Rose and picks up a foul. It's been a theme for Martin in the finals. Well, Tim Duncan is putting himself in rarefied air. If he keeps up the 20-point, 15-rebound average, which it looks like he will, he'll become only the 5th player since 1980 to average that in an NBA Finals.
And that is pretty good company that he's in right there, Shaq and Moses Malone.
And we can be reasonably certain that Tim Duncan will be able to keep that up. Well, Tim Duncan was the #1 pick in the 1997 NBA Draft. Who will it be in 2003? Find out here on ESPN. Our Latin American audience will see our 2003 NBA Draft show coming up on June 27th. Well, Kenyon Martin had a curious possession there.
Well, he caught the ball in the low block, thought he was fouled, stopped playing, went to complain to the official. Manu Ginobili didn't stop playing, and he just swiped the ball out of Kenyon Martin's hands, and then a frustrated Martin pushed Malik Rose on the way back up the floor, and there's a foul on K. Martin.
Yeah, I mean, where do you start on everything that's wrong with that?
Yeah, well, you know, you cannot stop playing until the whistle sounds. And you've got to maintain your concentration, and you can't be talking to the referees when the game is on.
The NBA Finals, an elimination game, no less. Kenyon Martin lost his head for a moment. Jason Kidd drives and kicks it back out. Richard Jefferson sets up Aaron Williams, gets into the game, blocked by Tim Duncan.
How great a block was that?
Pretty good.
And a quiet block, no fanfare, no pointing, no shouting. Just got it done. And that was a point-blank shot attempt by Aaron Williams.
Ginobili drives, and he was fouled as he tried the right-hand drive. 2 free throws coming from Manu Ginobili.
Nice penetration by Ginobili. Goes in, knifes his way in. Take a look at this block. Aaron Williams goes up to dunk the ball, and no way with Duncan there. And Ginobili at this end just knifes through the defense, creates some contact, lays it up with the right hand, doesn't make the layup, but he's at the free throw line.
And he gets them both. A 5-point game, 1:45 to play in the first quarter, as Ginobili gets on the board for the first time.
A little full court pressure by Tony Parker, and he winds up slapping the ball away from Jason Kidd.
It'll remain Nets ball.
And see, Kidd just doesn't have enough quickness to accelerate past Tony Parker. Plus, Kidd realizes he's going to be playing about 48 minutes tonight, so he's got to conserve some energy when he can. But how about that entry pass? Perfect entry pass in deep.
Get the foul on Manu Ginobili as they try to get it to Aaron Williams. Jason Kidd in the corner, double team, knocked away. Jefferson got it, drives baseline, blocked by Malik Rose. Lucius Harris has it, gives it back to Jefferson, poked away by Ginobili, who continues to hound him. Jefferson takes it in again, lost it, no whistle. Long outlet pass, Duncan to Ginobili, tracked down. And then a foul on Lucius Harris.
Well, the Nets are complaining. They think they are not getting the calls down at their end of the court. They are being aggressive, taking the ball to the basket. Richard Jefferson takes it in hard a couple of times. Malik Rose blocked it up top, but hit him underneath. And it should have been called, and it wasn't. And then Richard Jefferson drove again, got the ball back, drove again, and thought he got fouled again. And no call. Right here, he takes it in strong and thought he got fouled by Tim Duncan, and he has a case.
The left-hand shooting Ginobili missed the free throw, but then stepped over the line too quickly in pursuit of the miss. So to go over to the Nets. And Greg Popovich doesn't want Byron Scott to get in their ears without him counter-punching, if you will.
That's exactly right. It's a one-upsmanship type thing, and here Byron Scott winds up getting a technical foul from Danny Crawford, and once again we see the officials being part of this ball game and becoming a story in this game.
And here Byron Scott, he does pick up the technical, but that's not necessarily a bad thing here, Rick, is it? I mean, his team is facing elimination, and he's got to stand up for him, right?
Well, he does, and a lot of times, and as we've seen in the series so far, whenever a team gets a T called on them, they get pumped, and they play a little bit harder, at least for a short stretch, so it motivates them. We'll see if this motivates the Nets.
And a block from behind by Duncan, but a whistle this time, so Lucius Harris gets a foul call, and he'll go to the line.
All that complaining paid off. They got the call, didn't they?
They sure did.
And that was no more of a foul or no less of a foul than the prior play that Duncan blocked Richard Jefferson.
And Lucius Harris, who has struggled mightily in these last few games after double-digit scoring in the first two, he scored just 12 since and made just 2 of 17 shots from the field.
You know, sometimes from a coach's perspective, you have to remind the officials, hey, we're in this game too, you know, and you can call fouls on them.
Malik Rose lost the ball on the baseline. Jason Kidd getting a rest here in the final minute of the first quarter. He's getting a little one at least.
I was just going to say that. It looks like he's not going to pull a 48 tonight.
Maybe 47.
Yeah. You know, depending on how this game goes, he could very well play every minute the rest of the way.
Jefferson, another outside jumper.
Whoa.
Banks it in.
I don't know if he called glass on that one. So I don't know if we should give him credit for it, but he'll take it. The way he's been struggling from the perimeter, he'll take that kind of shot.
Absolutely. Back to an 8-point lead. It's been as high as 9. Malik Rose gives it to Duncan. Kenyon Martin on him for now. Cutting Steven Jackson. Left hand lane. Beautiful pass from Tim Duncan.
And that's what makes Duncan so dangerous, when he anticipates the double team, as he did there, and guys cut to the basket, he will find them. The Spurs in a zone defense, which has been very effective against the Nets in this series.
Kenyon Martin from way out. Slam back home by Richard Jefferson.
Well, Richard Jefferson decided he'd be the zone buster right there, and he just followed it and followed it emphatically.
What a first quarter for Richard Jefferson. 10 points for he as he leads the Nets, trying to extend this NBA Finals in Game 6. The start of the second quarter coming up. The Nets on top by 8. It's been a very impressive first quarter for the visiting New Jersey Nets, facing elimination here at Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Have come into San Antonio and have taken an 8-point lead after one quarter. Mark Brown along with Rick Weitzman. And we talked about Jason Kidd as the focal point of this Nets team. What would the other players do? Who would step up? And Richard Jefferson has certainly been the man.
I hope that I give the team confidence. Jason Kidd, point guard, New Jersey Nets. As much as I rely on my teammates to help me be successful, I want to help them.
He gets me the ball in places where I don't have to do nothing with it but put it in the hole. He leads by example. That's why he's our captain. No matter where he goes, the entire team will follow.
And that has been to the NBA Finals the last 2 seasons. And it has been a big improvement from a year ago when they were swept by the Laker juggernaut, having won 3 straight titles. But this year, with the Spurs representing the Western Conference, the Nets have shown their growth to some degree. They are tied at 2 games apiece, and now it's 3-2 down for Game 6 and 7 if necessary in San Antonio. And Jason Kidd stays on the bench, and Steve Kerr gets a rare first-half appearance in the playoffs.
Well, that's kind of interesting because he deserves an early appearance the way he's played the last couple of times out. That's a nicely executed play out of a break where Tim Duncan at the high post, high-low, finds Steven Jackson curling to the basket. Perfect lead pass, easy layup.
And a little pressure off of the inbound.
Well, certainly if the Spurs are going to press, you'll see Jason Kidd back in the game without too much delay. I expect him back in. I thought he'd come back in at the start of this quarter.
Yeah, that makes 2 of us. Inside, the tip back. It was a miss by Jefferson, and Williams put it back in.
Yeah, and Duncan came over to try to block Jefferson. Jefferson was able to get it up, and it left Aaron Williams all alone for the follow.
Back to an 8-point game. This is Speedy Claxton, gives it to Tim Duncan at the high post. Now Duncan screens for Claxton. Claxton into the lane, tough runner. Tipped up and rebounded by Malik Rose, who fakes up. And taken away by Kenyon Martin. Now the Spurs think there should have been a foul call.
Well, Kenyon Martin has a habit of reaching in, and he usually gets called for it. That time he got away with it. Nice drive by Anthony Johnson. Lays it in off the glass.
And now a double-digit lead for the first time of the game.
And lest we let it go unmentioned, San Antonio again scoring under 20 points in a first quarter.
All 6 NBA Finals games. That has never happened until the Spurs have done it. But the good news is the previous 5, they ended up winning 3 of them anyway. So it doesn't seem to have a bearing on what will happen at the end. They've been able to finish games.
Yeah, well, and they've been able to stay close with the Nets in each of these games in the first quarter anyway.
Duncan on the repost, double team, knocked away by Johnson and then stolen. Kenyon Martin gives to Jefferson. Jefferson taking it at Kerr. Steve Kerr gives up the foul.
See, what Tim Duncan has been used to seeing by the Nets is that drop-down guard not committing fully to Duncan, but sort of playing halfway. In that last sequence, Anthony Johnson committed to Duncan, attacked Duncan, and was able to slap the ball loose.
Richard Jefferson diving into the lane, and they got him for a travel.
Yeah, that little hop, skip, and a jump was one hop or skip too many. But again, Richard Jefferson trying to attack the defense, and the Spurs still in that zone, which again has been very effective for them all throughout this series.
Steve Kerr looking for Duncan, having trouble getting the entry, now does. Double team immediately. Claxton open, hits the 20-footer.
And Speedy Claxton has given the Spurs terrific minutes every time he's been in the game. which has allowed Greg Popovich to sit Tony Parker. If Parker is not producing, he knows he's going to get something positive from the point guard position when he puts Speedy Claxton in.
Jefferson missed on the jumper, and Speedy Claxton has been working on that outside shot. There's no other explanation.
He has been, and once again, the scouting report on Speedy Claxton has always been, give him the outside shot. Well, he's making the outside shot now.
Jackson misses inside, loose ball foul against the Spurs. It'll go against Malik Rose, and he and Martin are going at it again.
Yeah, they have been physical with each other throughout this series, and it has escalated every game. You know, the foul that we talked about earlier that Kenyon Martin got was pushing Malik Rose. Watch right here. Malik Rose gets the rebound with the foul, and Kenyon Martin tries to slap it out of his hands, and Malik Rose just flails back at him. You wonder why there wasn't a call there.
Lucius Harris escaping the double team. Well, no, he didn't. He turned it over. Steve Kerr has it. Up to Jackson in the corner. Wide open. Speedy Claxton has all night to tee that one up, but couldn't hit it.
Too much time. He had too much time to shoot that.
Anthony Johnson takes it right back at him and gets the roll on the runner.
Anthony Johnson has done a terrific job while he's been in there. He's made 2 baskets going to the hoop, and he's done a very effective job on the defensive end, doubling Tim Duncan.
Nets continue to shoot the ball the best they have in this NBA Finals. Steve Kerr again gives it down. This time it's Rose.
Oh, nice pass. Nice drop down.
Claxton had nowhere to go with it, so he gave it out to Jackson, who hits his first 3 of the game.
And Steven Jackson is very, very good from deep when he has time. When he can spot up, catch, measure, and shoot it, he is very accurate from the 3.
7-point game. High post. This is Williams. Goes quickly. Turnaround won't go for Kmart. Rebound to Malik Rose.
And that's what Kmart has to do once he catches it in the block. Make a quick move. Utilize his superior quickness.
Claxton off the Rose screen. Gives it back to Rose. Rose wants to drive now. Reach in. Stripped away by Kenyon Martin. And it will remain Spurs ball.
And he's playing with fire, reaching in for those possessions. He has gotten called for them time and again.
Only 1 foul for Martin so far, and the Nets have the 7-point lead. Well, during that last timeout, they took a point off the board for San Antonio. After further review, Steven Jackson's 3 was only a 2. So an 8-point advantage now for the New Jersey Nets as we look at some of that Nets defense.
Again, you're seeing right here, you're seeing Anthony Johnson just attack Tim Duncan and slap the ball loose. You're seeing the physicalness of the interior defense. Kenyon Martin not giving up easy position to David Robinson. And once again, Malik Rose drives to the basket, and Kmart slaps at the ball. He's gotten away with it twice. He hasn't gotten away with it that often in this series.
Now 4 points and 3 rebounds. He's only 2 for 8 from the field, which is what he was in the entirety of game number 5 when he was suffering from the flu. He's still got the towel around the head, trying to stay warm during his time on the bench. But he clearly looks to be in better condition when he's out there on the floor than he did in game 5.
Well, he's a lot more active and a lot more aggressive than he was in game 5. The numbers aren't showing it, but he's more involved in this game, no question about it.
Now Tim Duncan back in off the Spurs bench, along with David Robinson, as we look at Tony Parker, who has been substituted for by Speedy Claxton.
Frequently. Not just in this game, but Greg Popovich sending a message to his young point guard that, hey, you better step up the production, certainly on the offensive end of the floor, but also on the defensive end, and start distributing.
Everything's dead. The monitors and everything.
Oh, we got some problems here.
Because we have a 3-minute time period where we go with timers if we have to.
At the scorer's table, Danny Crawford talking with the official scorer.
Well, there's a mechanical problem with the clocks. And Danny Crawford told the table we have a 3-minute time range where we'll go with manual timers if we need to.
So a power problem at the scorer's table. The Official score 31-23 with 7:29 to play in the first half. So we look at Anthony Johnson, who really can't count on a whole lot of minutes night in and night out in the postseason because he plays behind Jason Kidd. Every now and then he won't play in a game, but here helps force a turnover.
He's played very well, and it has shown Byron Scott that he maybe should use Jason Kidd and Anthony Johnson in the same backcourt, and that's exactly what he's doing right now.
What a defensive backcourt that could be. Aaron Williams, meanwhile, throws one away from on top.
Turnovers. Spurs have 8, Nets have 4. I think not a whole lot for the Nets. Certainly you don't get a whole lot of turnovers when Jason Kidd is controlling the ball because he controls it so well. But the Spurs, 8 turnovers already, not a good sign.
Spurs have had some turnover problems in the postseason. They've been able to win despite some tough turnover games. They move the ball around nicely on offense. Give it to Speedy Claxton, who hits another jumper.
Well, it's hard to take Speedy Claxton out of the game when he is so effective as he is tonight. I mean, he's making the right plays.
Parker at the scorer's table, set to come in at the next whistle. Here's Anthony Johnson, hounded by Claxton. Johnson taking it right at him.
And Speedy Claxton does such a superior job defensively. He is really tough. Anthony Johnson couldn't get where he wanted to be.
Oh, what a block by Aaron Williams as he knocked it away from behind on David Robinson.
Well, Jason Kidd made that play. He came over, weak side help, was in position. David Robinson saw him, didn't want to commit the charge, and pulled up quickly, enabling Aaron Williams to block the shot.
Williams scores inside over Tim Duncan.
Aaron Williams playing very well. He lost his minutes to Dikembe Mutombo earlier in this series. Well, he's regained them with his play. Points in the paint. Surprise, surprise. Nets 20, Spurs 12.
And Dikembe Mutombo yet to get into the game yet for New Jersey. Knocked away by Kerry Kittles. Another turnover, but taken back by Bruce Bowen. Jackson drives, stolen by Williams.
Turnovers.
What a bounce pass from Kidd, but Anthony Johnson had a foot on the sideline.
You have to know where you are on the floor when you catch the pass. You can't be out of bounds.
Anthony Johnson apparently did not know. A look at some defense from New Jersey. Starting a fast break for them. Aaron Williams playing tough inside for the Nets. An 8-point advantage for New Jersey. 5:39 to play in the second quarter. This is Game 6 of the NBA Finals, and the Nets are playing as if their season depended on it.
Well, it does depend on it.
Well, that's why.
They have come out aggressively, trying to take it right at the Spurs. Aaron Williams has given them a lift. He's played very well in the middle, in the center position for New Jersey. He scored 4 points, 1 rebound, but he's been active, and he's been a factor defensively as well as offensively. And that, again, is a huge boost, and it has caused Byron Scott to keep Dikembe Mutombo on the bench. And, you can't fault that decision because Aaron Williams has been effective.
Yeah, in the first 3 games, you talked about him losing his minutes to Mutombo. Only 15 total minutes in the first 3 games, including not playing at all in Game 2. Since then, he has gone more to Williams and has been rewarded with big production. Right now, Tim Duncan going after offensive rebounds and forcing it back down. A chance for a 3-point play.
Just staying with it until you get it done. And you talk again about Aaron Williams. The game he sat out, I'd say 80% of NBA players would have found something to complain about. Aaron Williams, total professionalism, kept his mouth shut, waited for his turn, and when his turn came, he delivered.
And that turn came in Game 4. He had 8 points, 7 rebounds, 4 blocks off the bench in just 17 minutes. He earned 23 more minutes in Game 5 and had 10 points and 7 boards. He is picking right up where he left off. But right now it is the Spurs sneaking back into this game. The lead was as high as 10 on a couple of occasions. What a block by Tim Duncan. Oh, but Robinson, falling out of bounds, gave it to Collins, stepping back in.
You never want to save the ball underneath your own basket, as David Robinson did, because it can lead to a pass to an opponent who has an uncontested dunk. But what a great block by Tim Duncan. Just another great play by Tim Duncan. The Spurs in a zone. New Jersey attacking that zone, something they haven't done previous in this series. There's the interior pass, a great block by Duncan and Robinson. I think Robinson got a piece of that as well. 7 block shots for the Spurs.
And they're going to say David Robinson's feet were out of bounds when he tried to save it back in. So no basket for Collins in the nets. And another block. It may have been a pass. Hard to tell. But in any event, David Robinson was there to break up the play. And now a foul out front. That score is incorrect that you just saw. It is 33-28. No basket for the Nets on that last possession.
Well, Kenyon Martin trying to force the action here, and look at the hand of David Robinson right on the ball for another block shot.
8 blocks as a team. Robinson and Duncan have been snuffing out an awful lot of attempts. There are David Robinson's parents anxiously looking on. It is 33-28. The Spurs trailing, and then the 3 from the corner from Bruce Bowen to pull it within 2.
Well, with a quality team like the Spurs, if you give them a little bit of life, they will take it. Once again, the zone defense, which has been very effective for the Spurs.
And counting it now as a 2 for Bowen, so a 33-30 lead for the Nets. Oh, shot for Kerry Kittles, finally getting on the scoreboard, and the Nets really needed it.
And that was almost offense by accident. The Nets seemed to be fumbling around, and yet they found Kerry Kittles, who made the open shot.
A 5-point game as now they do call it a 3-pointer on the Bowen shot. Meanwhile, fast break for the Nets and a foul on Steven Jackson. Kerry Kittles will go to the line.
A rare fast break opportunity for the Nets, and they know how to execute the break. Look at the defense and the physicality in the post. Jason Kidd, so good on the break. Just knows where everybody is. Picks out the trailer on that. Kerry Kittles. Kittles foul going up for the basket. I can't recall, outside of Magic Johnson in recent vintage, anybody who can run the break as well as Jason Kidd. Of course, you know, if you go back to the old days, there were several guys who ran the break very well. But Jason Kidd, among the best who have ever played in terms of running the break.
Now Kittles gets them both, and a 7-point lead. And of course, Jason Kidd and the Nets want to run that break a whole lot more than the Spurs are letting them. David Robinson drives into the lane. Oh, what a wild reverse off the glass for the Admiral.
Showing some speed and quickness, getting into the paint. Strong drive by David Robinson.
There's the points in the paint battle right now. The Nets getting the better of it. Richard Jefferson gives to Kenyon Martin.
Richard Jefferson just being hounded by Bruce Bowen.
Duncan tracks down the rebound quickly up to Parker.
And Duncan went up over Jefferson to get that rebound.
Duncan immediately into the post. Ginobili gives it to him. Martin will try to defend. All the way across to Bowen. Pull up on the baseline. Tipped away by Duncan, and it'll go over to the Nets despite the best effort of a leaping Bruce Bowen. 2:51 to play in the first half. And the Spurs have trailed this by about 10 on a couple of occasions. David Robinson turning back the clock with that drive. But right now, it's New Jersey by 5. Coming up on the NBA Finals halftime report. Kick it off with our Sports Center update. The final round of the U.S. Open. Would it be another first-time major winner? Also, Spanish League Soccer and the Barcelona elections. Now, Spurs crowd at SBC Center trying to get them sparked right now. A deficit facing New Jersey with 2:51 to play in the second quarter. Mark Brown, along with Rick Weitzman, 6-point lead for New Jersey. There's been some issues courtside with the clock and score operator. At the moment, we have a 6-point New Jersey lead, but it has been fluctuating back and forth. There's been some communication problems between the scoreboard and the official scores. There's no doubt about that, but we have it set the way we need it to be right now. A 6-point advantage for New Jersey inside 3 minutes to play in the second. Nets have the ball. Jason Kidd will bring it up. Hasn't taken a shot in the second quarter. Jason Collins inside for Jefferson. Blocked from behind by Tim Duncan.
That's just amazing. Tim Duncan is just such a good shot blocker. He's in the right place at the right time. Richard Jefferson had a layup, and Tim Duncan just swatted it away.
As strong as the Nets have gone to the basket, and they've gotten more points in the paint than have the Spurs. Lately, the Spurs have been defending that rim very well. Kittles will try inside, and Robinson made him change it. Nearly stolen by Jefferson, but it will remain Spurs ball.
Well, Kittles tried to draw contact, and the shot was an afterthought. You've got to pay more attention when you're in that situation to making the shot rather than just getting it off.
Duncan only has 3 points for San Antonio in the last 12.5 minutes.
And a little physical play. Bruce Bowen, Richard Jefferson, those two guys have been going at it. We've seen Malik Rose and Kenyon Martin go at it a little bit. And tempers are short. Certainly the Nets realizing that, you know, obviously there may not be another game. They are laying it on the floor, and they're trying to be physical and aggressive. Watch this bump by Jefferson. You think basketball is a lawn tennis type of game? In the playoffs, it can be very physical.
You see the lip of Richard Jefferson showing a little bit of blood there. He cut it in game number 5, and apparently not enough blood to stop play. And the drive missing by Manu Ginobili. Now Jason Kidd speeds it up. Goes by 2 defenders, kicks out to Kittles. Around and out on the 3. In the rebound.
Jason Kidd on a break opportunity, but he had no numbers because the Spurs were back so well.
Collins gives on top. Richard Jefferson inside, 2 minutes left. Double teamed was Martin across to Kidd. Fires the 3. Great battle for the rebound, but Parker comes away with it. Superior speed into the front court. Gives to Duncan down low. Rolls out. Duncan follows his own miss.
And the Nets thought that Duncan went up over Jason Collins' back, and they might have a point. But Duncan did not get called for it. He followed it and laid it in.
Now back to a 4-point game. Inside 1.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Martin screens for Kidd. They switch it. Drive it. Offensive foul on Kenyon Martin. His second.
David Robinson just got position and held it. He got some weak side help as well from Tim Duncan. And Kenyon Martin just intent on taking the ball into the paint. Tried to go through David Robinson, and an offensive foul on Kenyon Martin, causing him to take a seat.
Will most likely sit for the remainder of the half. He has averaged more than 5 fouls a game in this NBA Finals. Inside for David Robinson. How about the high-low from the Twin Towers?
David Robinson came up to set a pick, slipped it, and went right back towards the basket. Perfect lead pass, easy layup. It's great basketball.
Pull-up jumper. Kidd can hit. Now the Spurs have it. A chance to tie or perhaps take the lead on a 3. Robinson gives to Bowen. Duncan on the block. Sweeps in for the hook and hits off glass. It's 38 apiece.
determined to take it in and assert himself offensively, and puts it in off the glass. What a great move.
The Spurs close the first, second, third, and fourth quarters with big runs in their Game 5 victory. They're on an 8-0 run right now at the end of the second quarter. Kidd trying to put an end to it, and does with a huge three.
And the Spurs back in that zone defense, and the Nets early on were very aggressive against the zone. This time they weren't, and they got bailed out by a long Jason Kidd three-pointer.
Spurs will take the last shot. Tony Parker creating from on top. Corner to Bowen. Three on the way. Will not go, and that is it for the second quarter. Game 6 is halfway over, and the Nets are trying to force a Game 7. And one of the guys who came out strongest in this one with aggressive play was Richard Jefferson, his third straight strong performance in this NBA final. It is a 3-point lead for New Jersey. San Antonio will have to make a little bit of a comeback if they're going to finish off the NBA Finals tonight. The NBA halftime report is coming up, starting off with the Sports Center update. 41-38 Nets at the half. "24 minutes left in game number 6. The Nets hope that they can hold on to this lead over the Spurs and force a decisive 7th game of the NBA Finals 3 nights from tonight. Mark Brown along with Rick Weitzman as we take a look back at how the Nets got that first half lead on the fast break. Some quick ball movement. Jason Kidd makes it a 5-0 game for the Nets as they jumped out quickly. Then New Jersey up 3. Tony Parker starts it off. It ends up in the hands down low for Tim Duncan with a great position. Spurs pull within 1. The Nets stretched out to a 7-point lead, and then on the break again, Jason Kidd drives it into the free throw line and pulls up for the jumper to put them up by 9. End of the first quarter, Nets had a 6-point lead. Kenyon Martin the miss, but Richard Jefferson slamming it back home. It was a 25-17 lead for New Jersey at the end of the first quarter. In the second quarter, Speedy Claxton the jumper, but the Spurs still trail by 8.
Tim Duncan missing here, but getting his own rebound, following it, making the layup, and the 3-point play. Nice high-low from Tim Duncan to David Robinson, and the Spurs were on their way back.
That brought him within 2. It was tied at 38 when Richard Jefferson finally got it out to Kidd off the broken play in the final seconds of the first half, and he hits that 3. That stopped an 8-0 run for the Spurs, and it puts the Nets up by 3 as we get ready to start the third quarter. Both teams shooting in the low 40s as far as percentage is concerned. The Spurs getting the better of the rebounding battle. They have also blocked double-digit shots. So New Jersey has come out inspired. They jumped out quickly, and they've controlled the action for the most part, led by 10 on a couple of occasions. But San Antonio has been very tough in closeout games, and they've closed out each of their previous 3 opponents in 6 games, and that is where we are tonight. Jason Kidd had 3 baskets in the first half, went a big stretch in the second quarter without scoring, but then hit that big 3 to close out the first half.
Well, things were rolling along very smoothly for the Nets in the first half, and then all of a sudden they left the door open, and the Spurs came crashing through it and really minimized that lead by the Nets. And the momentum definitely on the side of the Spurs finishing the first half. It's up to the Nets now to reestablish that momentum and to reestablish their aggressiveness offensively. They've got to take the ball to the basket strong, and if the Spurs show that defense, the Nets cannot be indecisive. They have got to attack.
41-38, the Spurs have it to start. They go right inside for Duncan. It's knocked away. Here come the Nets on the break. Kidd, Kittles, lays it in. A great start for New Jersey.
Well, Kenyon Martin made that play, poking the pass away from Tim Duncan. The Nets came out on a break situation, and they are devastating when they can get out and get numbers on the break.
Slam down low. The big men working well together.
Tim Duncan on a pick and roll, catches the inside pass, goes up strong as if he's going to make the layup. At the last second, he drops it down for the easy lay-in for David Robinson. Terrific play by Duncan.
Kittles on the baseline. Misses in and out. It's still a three-point game. Tony Parker, bit of a quiet first half. Gets to the free throw line. Back out to Duncan. The drive and the dish again to Robinson, and the hard foul from Jason Collins.
And all of a sudden, Tim Duncan is becoming the playmaker. Watch this pass. No look to David Robinson. That's just, you can't believe that a guy 7 foot who has the inside game that Tim Duncan has should be able to make those kinds of passes, but he does.
Robinson hits another free throw. So a strong finals appearance for him. The numbers in the postseason were down. The minutes were down, though he was providing vital defense and other things for this team. But he has regained that stride from earlier in his career at some vital times in this NBA Finals run. 2-point game. Kidd on top, off the Collins screen. Jefferson to the baseline. Boy, he had to shoot it over the outstretched arms of Tim Duncan.
Yeah, he's lucky he was able just to get that thing off. And he got it off, but it didn't go anywhere.
Steven Jackson from the corner. Rebound Collins right into the hands of Kidd. And the floor general surveying everything. Gives it to Martin in the post. He has Duncan on him. Spins quickly against him and hits the jump hook.
That's a good move by Kenyon Martin. Caught, turned to face, saw what the defense was doing, and he just attacked and attacked quickly before the defense could get set.
Steven Jackson hits from long range.
And we've said it over and over again. He is very good on a spot-up jump shot from deep if he's able to set his feet and measure the shot.
Kenyon Martin gave up the dribble. Gives to Kidd. Richard Jefferson wanted in the post-up. Instead, they go across to Kittles. Hits the three. They desperately need more of that from Kerry Kittles.
Positively, and that came off that Princeton offense that the Nets run in the half court. The motion type offense. Kittles came off a weak side screen, flashed up to the top, and received the pass and made the shot.
Spurs now 0 for 6 from three-point range. Long rebound in the breakout. Blocking foul on Steven Jackson. It will send Jason Kidd to the free throw line.
Well, it could have been a charge, but I believe Steven Jackson was in too deep to take the charge. There's a nice outlet by Kenyon Martin. Let's see where Steven Jackson is. Yes, he's inside that half circle area where you cannot take a charge, and he is moving as well. So that is a very good call. Jason Kidd just went up strong and drew the contact.
And Kidd hits from the free throw line to make it a 6-point advantage. 4 assists and 9 points for Kidd. He's taken 8 shots on the game. 23 in the loss in Game 5. Hits them both, and the lead is 7.
And he has not really had to take the offense over and do a bulk of the scoring for the Nets. They are getting some production. There's a nice steal right there.
Kerry Kittles splits 2 defenders. It'll be a reach-in foul on David Robinson.
You know, it amazes me, Mark, that a big guy like a David Robinson or a Kenyon Martin feels the need to reach in against a little guy to slap the ball away instead of just going up strong to try to block the shot. And that time David Robinson got caught on the reach-in.
Kerry Kittles hits from the free throw line in double digits today and an 8-point lead. Kittles with 11 points, 3 rebounds. He's made 2 of his 3 3-pointers. Kittle's in single digits in 4 of the 5 previous games in this NBA Finals. He's got it to a 9-point advantage.
You know, with all of the aggressiveness by the Nets taking the ball to the basket, they only shot 4 free throws in the first half. They've got to get to the free throw line, and they have early on in this third quarter. Steven Jackson on a move to the basket, stepped out of bounds.
So the Spurs find themselves on the cusp of going down by double digits, but the 3 from Kittles falls away. You know, Tim Duncan is on the verge of a triple-double already in double digits in points. He had 8 rebounds in the first half, 6 assists, and we've seen him have at least 1 more here in the third quarter. Is there anything this guy, maybe quadruple-double, blocks too.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Well, did he sell popcorn before the game?
I don't know that he did.
Well, that's right.
He probably did. Third foul, meanwhile, on Kenyon Martin.
But you know he could.
Absolutely. And a lot of people in San Antonio would be buying it. David Robinson, the offensive rebound. Tony Parker skips into the lane.
Zone defense employed by the Nets that time.
Kidd breaks out of the back. What a pass to Richard Jefferson.
Goodness.
Count the hoop and the foul on Ginobili. The lead is 11. Maybe about to go to 12.
You've got to be kidding me. How in the world did Jason Kidd make this pass? He's amongst traffic, and yet a no-look half-court pass perfectly to Richard Jefferson, who goes up strong with the left hand, makes the layup, and is at the free throw line. What an unbelievable pass by Jason Kidd.
Spurs were only called for 6 fouls in the first half.
You see Rod Thorne, the architect of this Nets team.
That's what he had in mind when he brought Jason Kidd over in that trade for Stephon Marbury. And right now, the Nets coming out strong to start the second half. They led it by 3 at halftime, but a big run to start the third quarter with a no-look pass from Jason Kidd. The 3-point play on the finish for Richard Jefferson. Well, the Nets had a very good start to the game when they jumped out 5-0, and they have broken out quickly in the third quarter, stunning this Spurs team that had hoped to be able to close things out. Mark Brown along with Rick Weitzman, and they still can, but they've dug themselves a hole here early in the first 4 minutes of this third quarter.
Well, the Nets have come out in this third quarter intent on regaining the momentum. They have been aggressive. They have gotten out on the break and been able to finish on fast breaks. They have gotten themselves to the free throw line, where they are a pretty good shooting team, and they have done the things defensively that they have wanted to do in terms of bottling up the Spurs offense. They went to a zone a little bit, and now all of a sudden Jason Kidd has 10 points and 5 assists. He's doubled his output just this early in the third quarter.
And this Nets offense has been jump-started by their defense and by that fast break. It's just the way that New Jersey wants to be playing. We'll see what the Nets can do here. Out of the Spurs timeout, a little full court pressure.
And it has picked up the tempo for the Nets defensively. And it caused a turnover by the Spurs. And Tony Parker throwing the ball out of bounds, essentially, and those are the kinds of things that have hurt the Spurs in second halves. The unforced turnovers, missed free throws, which hasn't raised its head yet.
In the first 4+ minutes, as Kmart misses on the turnaround, the Nets have 9 fast break points. The first 4+ minutes of the third quarter. That gives them a 17-3 advantage in the game, and that is exactly the way the Nets want to play it. Meanwhile, though, Tony Parker cuts into the lead with the long 2.
He slipped behind a nice pick and was wide open for that jump shot. Because you have to respect Tony Parker's ability to penetrate, so you have the tendency to give up that perimeter jump shot.
Kenyon Martin, off-balance shot as he went across the lane. Long outlet pass from Duncan off the rebound. Tony Parker challenges 2 defenders and traveled. Another turnover for the Spurs.
And Tony Parker's so good when he gets into the paint, particularly on a break situation. Turnovers you're seeing right there. Net 7, Spurs 15 already in this game. Tony Parker that time got bottled up, dragged the pivot foot.
Now, there's been a few games when the Spurs have been turning it over terribly, like this one, but we're able to slow it down the stretch and still win. We'll see if they'll be able to do that tonight. They're down by 10.
Kerry Kittles tried to force the action and really force it in to the basket. There was no place to go. The ball got slapped loose, and fortunately the Nets retained possession.
6:41 to play in the third. Martin to inbound. Into the hands of Kidd. Off the Collins screen. Kidd into the lane. Out for Martin. He wants the three. Shot clock was running down. Kmart had to take it.
Yeah, he's been aggressive, Kenyon Martin has. His shot is not falling, and right at this point, he's not taking good shots. That one he had to take.
Another turnover. The 16th. What a pass to Kittles. Left hand laying right past Tim Duncan.
Yeah, nice move by Kerry Kittles off the break. Went right at Tim Duncan. Used his body to shield the ball against a superior shot blocker. Kerry Kittles went to the left hand and was able to make the layup.
Steven Jackson out beyond the arc. Bounce for Duncan. Duncan into the defense. They swing it around. Ginobili the drive. All the way out to Jackson. Fakes the three, now fires it.
Oh, tough rebound, too, by Kenyon Martin, but he loses it.
Ginobili took it away. Martin had to fend off Ginobili, and Duncan wasn't able to do it. Parker in trouble. Stuffed back home by David Robinson.
Well, Tony Parker in the paint, and Jason Collins had to come over and show himself, and it left Robinson and Duncan all alone for that follow.
And there, a turnover there as Richard Jefferson barreled over the defender and picks up the offensive foul.
I'll tell you what, I really like what the Nets are doing defensively. They are sagging in the paint, helping each other out. Aggressive, almost zone-like defense. At times it is a zone, but anytime a Spur is in the area, the Nets are collapsing on the defensive end in the paint, and it is causing some problems for San Antonio.
Speedy Claxton in to run the point, gives to Tim Duncan. Martin is out there on him. Duncan holding high, gives back to Claxton. Claxton off the Duncan screen. Now Duncan from on top. How do you stop it?
You don't. You absolutely don't. And you almost encourage him to take that shot because then he is not posting you up. But yet he makes that shot with great regularity.
Richard Jefferson into the defense. Sets up Kenyon Martin. Blocked by Duncan. Robinson was there as well. The long outlet pass too long for Steven Jackson. Another Spurs turnover.
And unfortunately, Bob Devaney could not get out of the way of that pass. Not his fault. He tried to get out of the way, but he just couldn't. And it turns into a turnover once again for the Spurs.
Jason Collins gives it up to Jason Kidd. Kidd to the free throw line. Hits the pull-up. It's back to a 10-point game.
Big shot by Jason Kidd. He is starting to assert himself offensively. Not just leading the break, but he's starting to look for his own shot.
Duncan gives it back to Claxton. Claxton runs Kittle off the screen. Out to Ginobili. Three on the way. Richard Jefferson high for the rebound. Crossing over is Kidd. Leaves for Collins. Reverse won't go. Long rebound to Ginobili. Now the Spurs want to run. Ginobili to the basket and lays it in.
Gave a nice little ball fake to freeze the defender, and he just laid it in. Very nice move by Ginobili. You know, on the other end, Kidd with a great penetration, dropped it down to Jason Collins. It amazes me why a 7-footer feels the need to go up and under on a reverse lay-in, which Jason Collins missed.
First look at Dikembe Mutombo. He is up off the Nets bench. Collins goes down with the 3 fouls, but Mutombo may have been inserted based on exactly what you were saying there. Why does the 7-footer go up for a reverse? It may have gone back to that possession that had Mutombo up.
Yeah, well, let's see what Mutombo can do. So kind of a surprise that Byron Scott coming with Mutombo here Aaron Williams got the call in the first half. Tim Duncan just continues to play superior basketball. It's like he's playing amongst school children out there.
Strokes another jumper from on top. The Nets still have the lead, but the Spurs are on the move in the third quarter. Game 6 of the NBA Finals. San Antonio wants this to be the final game. They want to close out the championship now.
Thanks for making me a fighter.
Well, the Spurs fans are very much in this one as their team is starting to make a comeback from as many as 12 points down. Right now, it's just a 6-point New Jersey advantage as Byron Scott had just called a timeout with 3:17 to play in the third quarter. And Tim Duncan, leading scorer in this game with 18 points, also 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 blocks, and also David Robinson contributing as well. The Twin Towers, as they have always been known, playing alongside one another, have combined for 29 points. The rest of the Spurs, 24.
And the Spurs have blocked 10 New Jersey shots so far in this game. That's an incredible stat.
And they'll probably block some more. Missing was Kenyon Martin. Another rebound for Duncan, number 13. Speedy Claxton running the point for San Antonio. Chance for the Spurs to pull it closer. Claxton on the jumper, and he hits again. What do we mean Speedy can't shoot? All he's done is hit jumpers here in the finals.
That scouting report's being revised immediately. The man can shoot the jump shot.
Kenyon Martin from 20 feet out on the baseline. Settles for the jumper. Tipping it to himself was Mutombo for the offensive rebound. Kittles with Ginobili on him.
Kenyon Martin really struggling from the floor. 3 for 16 at this point.
And almost threw it away there. Kidd to the corner. And the jumper goes for Kittles, who quietly has started to have a good game. He's got 13, and the lead is back to 6.
Yeah, all of a sudden we're seeing some life out of Kerry Kittles, and much needed. Another steal by Kittles.
And a foul as he brought it up court on Speedy Claxton. Kittles has forced a number of turnovers, and the Spurs having problems holding on to the ball.
Yeah, Kerry Kittles here spotting up for the jump shot, the open jump shot, and then here the quick hands and the long arms by Kerry Kittles. He's done that a couple of times, and that time he took it off the point guard, Speedy Claxton.
17 turnovers now for San Antonio. The numbers keep building, but the Spurs are still right in this one. Rodney Rogers is now up off the bench for New Jersey to make his first appearance.
And the turnovers, I mean, the Spurs have done everything very well tonight, except that they've turned the ball over 17 times, and that is a huge number at this point in the game.
We'll see if they can overcome it. Down only 6. Kittles.
Good defense by Ginobili, but they are awarding the ball back to the net, saying Ginobili kicked it out of bounds. But good defense. He anticipated where Kittles was going to go, got position, fell down, knocked the ball out of bounds, though. Crowd wants an offensive foul there.
Kidd will fire up the 3. Another rebound for Duncan.
And he'll lead the break.
There's nothing he can't do. Facing up on Mutombo. Handles the ball like a small forward. Goes through the legs. Can't hit the bank shot. Malik Rose, the offensive rebound. A fresh 24 for San Antonio.
And that's an area where the Nets cannot afford a letdown. If they force the outside shot and Duncan happens to miss, they've got to get the rebound.
And they do there as Kittles tipped it.
But Malik Rose almost got it again.
Jason Kidd working on Ginobili. Gives it to Rodney Rogers. Backs it out with Duncan. And a 3-second violation on Dikembe Mutombo.
Mental mistakes. Can't afford those kinds of mental mistakes. You know, I firmly believe that there is something wrong with Jason Kidd's ankle, that ankle is still bothering him, because there are times in a game where you would see him explode past the defender. He's not able to do that and hasn't been in this series. And sure, Tony Parker and Speedy Claxton are very quick, but Jason Kidd usually doesn't have problems getting by people, and he does have problems in this series.
He refuses to address it, says he's fine, but those close to him say he wouldn't admit it if he were hurt.
Steve Kerr back in the ball game.
And he gives it to Ginobili. Ginobili can't hit the bank on the run, and a loose ball foul against Tim Duncan over the back.
And Duncan surprised, but he got away with a couple of those in the first half and finally gets called on them, on this one at least, in the second half.
Just the second foul on Tim Duncan. But a bonus situation. It will send Dikembe Mutombo to the free throw line. He has only been to the line for 2 free throws in this postseason. And now 3, and he's hit them all.
Yeah, usually a pretty accurate free throw shooter.
And Martin on the bench. 3 of 17 from the field. And Mutombo gets them both. Pushes the lead back to 8. Final 30 seconds of the third quarter. Nets are perfect from the line. And Ginobili fouled out front by Richard Jefferson.
Now the Nets still in that sort of sagging man-to-man that almost looks like a zone. But what they do is man-to-man principles, but weak side people sag in the paint, ready to help out.
Steve Kerr tries to rub Kidd off a Duncan screen, and again. Now it's Claxton. 15 seconds left. Claxton contact out front. The foul will go against New Jersey's Rodney Rogers.
Well, Rogers anticipating the pull-up jump shot on Speedy Claxton, and Claxton said, not this time. I'm going to the rack, and he got fouled.
14.8 seconds to play in the third quarter, and Claxton gets the roll. The minutes for Rodney Rogers have dwindled from game to game in the NBA Finals, and so have the production. One more coming for Speedy Claxton.
Speedy Claxton has really played well every time that he's been on the floor for the Spurs.
Got them both. 8 points for Claxton. 6-point game. 7 seconds left. Kidd wants to make something happen, but Bone is on him. Screen from Rogers. 3 on the way. Off the side of the rim. A fraction left for the Spurs at the end of the third. Ginobili to inbound. Throws it deep, and it's broken up by Mutombo and Jefferson. So 3 quarters are in the books in Game 6 of the NBA Finals. And right now, if the Spurs had visions of closing it out in 6, they'll have to come back from 6 down to start the fourth. Nets have put themselves in position to force a Game 7. 63-57, New Jersey leads San Antonio Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Mark Brown along with Rick Weitzman as we look at some of the images of the intensity that has surrounded the NBA Finals. 11 points for David Robinson tonight in support of Tim Duncan. How about 10 rebounds as well? A double-double in 3 quarters of play for the Admiral.
No question, he's played well, and what he hopes is his last NBA game. But the Nets have other ideas, and the first 5 minutes of this fourth quarter may tell an important story for the Nets. If they are going to push this series to a 7-game, or it will end tonight, may be determined in the first 5 minutes, depending on how the Nets come out and how aggressive they are and how successful they are.
Greg Popovich starts a backcourt of Steve Kerr and Speedy Claxton as the Nets have it first.
Well, you know the Spurs are not going to lay down and die no matter what happens, but the Nets can certainly set the tone in the first 5 minutes of this quarter.
Jason Kidd makes a statement, getting to the basket, puts it down for an 8-point lead. Kidd's got 14. Ginobili steps beyond the arc. Rebound, Duncan, is 15th. May have been partially deflected by Mutombo. Another chance for the Nets. Semi-transition. Kidd fakes up, shoots over Claxton, and hits the bank.
Tough shot. Jason Kidd just created a little space for himself and shot it high off the glass and made it. But a distressing thing for the Nets, Tim Duncan was able to get an offensive rebound on the last set for the Spurs, and the Nets have got to clean up their work on the defensive glass. Here you see the drive from up above by Jason Kidd. One of the few times he was actually able to get to the rim.
Steve Kerr hits the jumper.
And why would you expect anything less from a guy who is in these playoffs, made a history of making big-time shots in the fourth quarter.
Mutombo screens for Kidd. Kidd wants the pull-up. Tipped back home by Dikembe Mutombo.
And Mutombo with nice inside position, went up strong, and a rarity for the Nets, an offensive rebound.
Back to a 10-point game. Kerr gives to Claxton. Duncan wants it. Mutombo will try to contain. Duncan crossed over and got the roll over Mutombo.
Well, he got Mutombo moving one way, and then when Duncan went up in the air, he moved his body in the other direction to squeeze the shot off and make it.
Ginobili steals it away and dunks it home. He took Jefferson's lunch.
Yeah, and that was just lazy ball handling by Richard Jefferson. You should know better when you're going against a guy with such quick hands as Ginobili and great instincts in terms of stealing the basketball. And that's exactly what Byron Scott is saying to Richard Jefferson.
So Byron Scott will use this timeout to try and settle things down. A little mini run by Tim Duncan and the Spurs. Gets the hoop there.
And you can't, if you're New Jersey, you can't afford those mental lapses that you see right there. Lazy ball handling. Ginobili, opportunistic, comes in for the steal and the lay-in.
Can the Spurs keep it going? 69-63. New Jersey still in the lead, but the lead is shrinking. It's been as high as 12. And the Spurs have it down to 6. They've got some momentum built. They've got the crowd behind them. Can they keep it going? That's the question.
Well, again, you know, I'll go back to what I said a couple of minutes ago. The first 5 minutes of the fourth quarter are crucial. And right now, San Antonio has taken the initiative in the first couple of minutes. So we will see what happens, obviously. But right now, Mr. Momentum's on the side of the Spurs.
It is. We'll see if they can keep it going with the defense in the final season for David Robinson. If the Spurs win, this will be his last game. He already has a double-double while he rests on the bench.
A little tough pass by Jason Kidd.
Near turnover. Maybe it should have been.
Well, you never want to throw a cross-court pass into the teeth of the defense. Fortunately for the Nets, he was able to get away with it, and they retained possession, but that is a dangerous, dangerous pass.
Richard Jefferson, the baseline pull-up won't go. Duncan collects another rebound.
Yeah, that's a pretty good move, though, by Jefferson. Intent on taking it all the way to the rack. Saw the defense and pulled up for the short jump shot. He just was not able to make it.
Oh, Ginobili tried to find Malik Rose, but they could not connect. Another turnover for the Spurs.
Yeah, he tried to slide that ball in there, and Malik Rose just not seeing it clearly and not anticipating it. 18 turnovers for the Spurs, 11 for the Nets.
Quick ball moving around the perimeter. Lucius Harris for 3.
They need
Jason
him.
Kidd, the offensive rebound. Out jump Claxton. Corner to Rogers. Rodney Rogers makes a contribution. Finally.
And that's a big-time shot right there. But Jason Kidd made that play, tracking down the loose ball. controlling it and finding Rogers wide open.
Malik Rose forcing his way on the baseline, and he does draw the foul. Kenyon Martin at the table, ready to come in for the Nets.
See Jason Kidd right here. The vision. I mean, he just finds Rodney Rogers all alone for that jump shot. And you have to ask yourself, through all of that maneuvering, how did he spot Rodney Rogers all alone in the corner?
A secret we will probably never know. Jason
Nobody
Kidd,
will ever know.
it is amazing. He never seems to be looking, but he always sees.
Oh, he's just got that great peripheral vision and that great court sense of knowing where his teammates are supposed to be. And they happen to be there. Of course, it comes with familiarity. They know that if they get themselves open, he'll find them.
Malik Rose, only a couple points. The game hasn't scored from the field after a 6-for-9, 14-point performance in the Game 5 victory. Gets both free throws there and cuts the lead to 7.
You know, 8.5 minutes to go. You would think that the crunch time is extended a little bit, and instead of coming back with your horses with 4 minutes to go or 5 minutes to go, the coaches may want to come back with them a little bit sooner.
Another block for Duncan off the weak flip.
Yeah, you can't,
Rogers.
You can't come up and under when Tim Duncan is in the house, because he'll swat that thing, and he did.
6 times tonight. Duncan working the offensive glass. Can't come away with it. Somehow Martin knocked it to Kidd.
But the Spurs back on defense.
Kidd doesn't care. He shoots anyway, but it won't go.
Well, he had a good look at it, and that's a pretty good shot attempt. Unfortunately, didn't go for Jason Kidd.
Spurs getting the better of the rebounding battle. You would expect that to be the case, but throughout the finals, the Nets have hung tough there. Nobody guarded Malik Rose, and Duncan has his 8th assist.
Well, Rodney Rogers made a bad mistake there. Malik Rose cut for the basket, and Rogers left him to go to double-team Tim Duncan. Duncan saw the play developing and was able to hit Malik Rose. That's a bad mistake defensively.
Martin still can't buy a basket. 3 of 18. Now he'll have to guard Duncan. Duncan looking for cutters. Out to Ginobili. Jackson for 3. He's got it.
Wow.
And he cuts the lead. Down to just 2.
Great spurt by the Spurs. They played smart basketball at the right time. They have done the things that enable success, and the Nets have not.
Tim Duncan slams the door on one end, opens the door for Malik Rose on the other. And Steven Jackson with his first hoop in an awfully long time, but it's a 3. And it pulls his Spurs back within 2. The lead was a dozen not long ago. 2-point game with 7:08 to play. Decisive game. 30 blocks for Tim Duncan in this series. That ties the NBA Finals record set by Patrick Ewing.
How about those numbers for Duncan? 20 points, 17 rebounds, 6 blocks, and what was it, 8 assists?
8 assists, yeah.
Wow.
And one note on that, Patrick Ewing, 30 blocks. That happened in a 7-game series in '94. This is only game 6. So Duncan obviously blocking more per game. An average of 5 per game and still 7 minutes to play. The Nets have it. Still with a 2-point lead. Down to Kenyon Martin with Duncan on him. Out to Rogers. Back to Kenyon Martin. Going quickly. Blocked by Duncan. 7 in the game. 31 in the finals. A new record.
He just says, just keep coming at me and I'll just block it away. And the Nets keep coming at him.
Duncan gives it up out of the double team. Jackson has hit back-to-back 3s. The Spurs have the lead, and it's the first time tonight.
Now, it's one thing if you're going to double-team Tim Duncan, but you have to identify the shooters, and Steven Jackson is a good spot-up shooter when he gets his feet set, and he was wide open for that spot-up three.
Jackson's hit 2 threes in a row. Before that, the Spurs were 0 for 10 from beyond the arc in this game. Duncan the miss. Robinson the rebound. Up fake. Lay-in. Count it. It's a 3-point lead.
And the momentum, the Spurs have seized control of this basketball game, and the Nets are bewildered.
A 12-0 run in the fourth quarter. Lucius Harris draws the whistle. He'll get 2 free throws.
I tell you, I'm kind of surprised that the Nets are staying with this lineup, because this lineup has not gotten the job done, and they're essentially going with 3 reserves. And remember, we said how effective Aaron Williams was in the first half?
Who?
He hasn't made an appearance yet.
Yeah, haven't seen him
in this half. And I'm really kind of surprised that the remainder of the Nets starters are not on the floor at this particular time.
So Lucius Harris will try to get some of the points back here at the line. Missed. Aaron Williams is back in the game.
Yeah, and Richard Jefferson is back in the game. So Byron Scott has made those changes to get his horses back in.
David Robinson gives it up to Claxton. Claxton wants the jumper. It's again.
Another one.
His second double-digit game in the NBA Finals. And it's a 5-point lead. The run moves to 14-0. Rod Thorne stunned as he watches the collapse of his Nets.
Speedy Claxton here comes off the Duncan screen, and one of the things that makes the Spurs so effective offensively is that they use Duncan as the screener.
5 minutes and 21 seconds away from a second NBA championship for the Spurs. Right now, the Nets in a little bit of a spot. All they have is a 20-second timeout left.
Well, we'll see what kind of heart the Nets have right here in the last 5:22. They have controlled the action for most of this game. All of a sudden, the Spurs put on a run and seized control of the game. There's time left for the Nets, but they have got to dig awfully deep to get back in this one.
Crowd now in full throat. It's a 14-0 run over the last 3 minutes and 20 seconds. What can Kidd do? Give it to Martin. Missed again. He's 3 for 19. It has been a nightmarish 2 games for Kenyon Martin.
And he played so well up until the last game.
He sure did. Now he will try to contain Tim Duncan. It has been an impossible job. Jackson hits another 3. And by the way, that's the 10th assist for Tim Duncan. He's got a triple-double.
I'll say it again. You have to identify the spot-up shooters when you go to double-team Tim Duncan. And the spot-up shooter on the floor for the Nets, for the Spurs, is Steven Jackson. And he's had a couple of wide-open three-point shots. You know, it's one thing to run at Duncan and to double him, but you've got to identify the spot-up shooters, and you got to get out on them.
What is it that Tim Duncan cannot do?
There isn't anything he can't do.
20, 18, and 10, and remember those 7 blocks. Just not enough room on the screen to tell you everything Tim Duncan has done in graphic form.
And the Nets are imploding as we watch.
They have given up a 17-0 run. It may not be over yet. Jackson wants another 3. Not this time. Robinson the rebound. He was pushed out of bounds by Aaron Williams.
So that time Steven Jackson was guarded, and when you run at him, he's not going to make that three-point shot. But yet, somebody forgot to block out the Admiral. The Nets just making mental mistake after mental mistake.
Claxton getting major minutes in Game 6. Slashes in, knocked away, but collected by the Admiral. Oh, why not? Speedy Claxton's hit everything else tonight. The run is now 19-0.
Wow. In an imposing 10-point lead with 3.5 minutes to go, and the Nets can't stop the clock. They're out of timeouts.
Aaron Williams out to Kidd. Hits the jumper and the run ends. Do you remember Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals when the Spurs put a 23-0 run on the Mavericks in this same situation? '99 was the magic year for the San Antonio Spurs. They claimed their first and only NBA title. They are moments away from claiming their second. 3:08 is all that remains. Well, the Spurs home crowd has never seen their team clinch an NBA title. When they won in '99, it happened in New York in Game 5. And we sure looked like we were heading for Game 7 on Wednesday before a 19-0 Spurs run in the fourth quarter blew this one open, erased a deficit, and made a 10-point advantage. It's 8 at the moment, but the Nets seem to have no idea what to do now.
No, they haven't had any idea in the last couple of minutes, and a lot of that has been caused by the Spurs. The Spurs have just decided that this is the time of the game where we take it over and we get the job done. And Tim Duncan has had an absolutely fantastic game, a triple-double, but do not overlook the contributions of Speedy Claxton. He has contributed 12 points and 4 assists.
There are the updated numbers on Tim Duncan, flirting with a quadruple-double. That would make NBA Finals history.
I'll tell you what, there were some doubters when he was named MVP of the league. Anybody who has watched this series and the series that preceded it know why Tim Duncan is an MVP. He's not only the MVP of the league, he's the MVP of these playoffs without a doubt. No matter what happens in these playoffs, he is far and away the best player on the floor.
And a guy who has come right alongside of him is David Robinson, who is a much bigger contributor to that first championship run, but he has come up with a double-double of his own tonight. 13 points and 12 rebounds in support of the MVP Duncan. Claxton creating from on top, taken away. Kidd up to Kittles. Kittles has no numbers, gives it back to Jason Kidd. On top for Kenyon Martin, who shoots the jumper on the move. A horrific evening for Kenyon Martin. He has missed 17 of 20 shots.
And he is taking an awful lot more perimeter shots in this game than we normally see of Kenyon Martin.
Duncan has it out high. A foul in the lane as Aaron Williams fouled David Robinson. It is a non-shooting foul. Not a bonus situation yet, but from this point on, they will be. Make it 3 of 21.
Wow.
That was too kind to Kenyon Martin. Sorry to say. 18 of 21 shots missed. Claxton open again. Finally missed one. Kidd the drive. All the way out. Kittles fakes. Fires. David Robinson, another rebound, and he was fouled by Richard Jefferson.
Pretty good defensive effort that time by the Spurs, running at the shooters and then coming back to control the defensive boards. Maybe a little early to celebrate, but it's going to get there in a hurry.
3 years ago when Tim Duncan became a free agent and was the prize of everyone around the league. They all wanted him. David Robinson said, I got 3 more years in me. Stay here and let's win another championship. 16 rebounds, 13 points for David Robinson. On his last legs in many ways in his NBA career. 3 years later, he's about to deliver on that promise to Duncan.
If this is his last game, it's a pretty good way to go out.
Kidd misses the 3. And another rebound to Duncan. 1 short of 20.
2 minutes. 2 minutes to a championship.
Here is Duncan with Martin on him. Nets playing it straight. Turnaround. Rebound to Kenyon Martin. Looking for Kidd. He's got him. It's going to take a miracle now. Jackson the steal. Tight rope the sideline. And was out of bounds.
And Duncan has played a lot of minutes as well tonight.
And Duncan has officially been credited with his 20th rebound. 20/20 vision for Tim Duncan and the Spurs. Kidd gives to Kittles. Off a screen, great defense, but it'll be a foul on Steven Jackson.
And that's certainly one thing that Greg Popovich does not want to see his Spurs do in the last minute and 27 seconds is to stop the clock with fouls. No need to foul. Just play straight up, solid defense, contest shots, but don't foul.
Richard Jefferson, a rare 3 attempt. Another rebound for Robinson, 17.
How about that? 37 rebounds between the Twin Towers.
Claxton is fouled. 1 minute, 11 seconds left. And David Robinson said, I got 3 more years in me. Stay, Tim. Stay with us. It was something that a lot of people said, well, you know, it's the Lakers' time. Is that realistic that there's another championship in the Spurs? Well, they waded through the Lakers' 3-time dynasty and then ended it this year in the second round.
Well, you're seeing the San Antonio locker room with the champagne on ice and everything else is covered.
Well, Boston Red Sox fans saw that in '86. Never quite got to uncork it. Kidd almost lost it, but this one seems a little more safe. But Jason Kidd takes 3 points out of that lead.
Yeah, it's a 2-possession game with less than a minute to go.
And they foul.
Yeah, the Spurs are going to have to make free throws.
.1 seconds remain. And what more can you say about David Robinson's career? It looked like he might just fade into the twilight with the average numbers that he's put up in the limited minutes. But this NBA Finals, he has been revitalized. 4 times in 6 games, double digits. And this one with 17 rebounds.
Well, the Nets did have a
1:20 left.
Yeah, they had 20 seconds left. They've got their work cut out for them. They're down 7 points, but yet the Spurs cannot afford to start celebrating just yet. They have got to continue to play, and I bet that Greg Popovich is reminding them of that right now. They've got to continue to play.
And here's the question, Rick. Speedy Claxton has played so well today and in so many of these other games. The big question, it's the Kidd Derby. Is Jason Kidd going to be a free agent? Is he going to sign with the Spurs? Do the Spurs need him as their point guard? Tony Parker played well enough in the first 3 games to erase that kind of talk. What about now?
Well, you know, if the Spurs do go after Jason Kidd, why not play Jason Kidd and Tony Parker is the off guard. What's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with that.
And then Speedy Claxton coming in off the bench. That's a pretty good three-guard rotation.
Martin took the inbound and gave to Kidd. Wants a three. Bank won't go, and Ginobili is fouled with 51.2 seconds left and a 7-point lead.
Well, this is certainly going to drag from here because the Nets are going to come down. They have to come down and take a quick shot. And if they miss, the Nets are just going to foul, and the Spurs can ice this thing, making free throws.
Ginobili's got the first one. Pushes the lead to 8.
And you keep seeing Kevin Willis in your screen. There you see Steve Smith. These guys have been in this league a long time, never won a championship, and this is it for them.
12th year for Smith, 19th for Kevin Willis. And the Spurs lose that rebound out of bounds as Kenyon Martin continues to fire and miss. Danny Farias saw him as well in his 13th season. It'll be his first title. Another miss. Kenyon Martin is going to want to burn the game tapes of games 5 and 6.
Yeah, no question about that. And again, he's had such a great series and playoff run. To have it end this way.
Here comes Kevin Willis to finish it out, and he will replace David Robinson.
That's great. That's a great look right there. How happy is David Robinson? And how deserving is David Robinson?
I know the decision's been made a long time ago, and he is good with it. And just see him play like that tonight, and you think,
no, he won't look back.
Oh, he won't look back. But he showed he can still play this game and play it at the highest level. Duncan comes out as well.
And how great a feeling is it for that man, Kevin Willis, 40 years old, been in this league forever, finally won a champion.
You have to look at this performance by Tim Duncan in a NBA Finals clincher. It has to go down as one of the all-time great performances.
Oh, positively. He has just been absolutely superb.
In every way. Anthony Johnson misses the jumper. Kevin Willis couldn't control the rebound, but Ginobili does. How about Ginobili?
Yeah, he's played exceptionally well. What a future he has in San Antonio.
He has won EuroLeague titles, an Italian League star, his first year of the NBA. He's going to win it all. The Spurs will simply hold on through the final seconds, building to a crescendo. And the San Antonio Spurs have won the 2003 NBA title. There won't be any asterisk next to this one. Only exclamation points.
And well deserved. They have played and played intelligent basketball throughout this series, and they have earned it. They have earned it. Family time now.
Tremendous career of David Robinson has come to an end. His legacy lives on the court and off it equally. One of the great citizens to ever wear an NBA uniform. celebrates with his father on Father's Day. And of course his children. He has helped many children in the San Antonio community with multi-million-dollar donations to his own Carver Academy. And he and Tim Duncan will share the spotlight for one final time. Amid the celebration in San Antonio, we'll take a break here on ESPN and be back with the presentation.
I could give him a lot more than this. He deserves it more than this, but this is the best I got right now.
There were twice in this game you trailed by double digits.
Yeah.
What was this team talking about, and how did it overcome that to get this victory?
Well, we talked about just grinding it out. You know, we're the type of team you have to keep playing. And I was just trying to give us whatever energy we could, and everybody just hung in there. Man, it was awesome. And then finally we got some shots to go in the fourth quarter, and that was what turned it around.
I can't imagine anything like this, David, and you have so many players, opponents on the other team who respect you. What did Dikembe Mutombo say to you at the end here?
Well, a couple of those guys, especially the young guys, they said, you know, they really, as youngsters, they watched me, and I was one of their favorite players. And besides making me feel old, it makes me feel great.
How ready are you to take this in and then walk away?
I'm ready. I mean, how can you walk away any better than this? I just praise the Lord. This is awesome.
It is awesome. And the performance by a man in his final NBA game after 14 seasons at age 37 on legs and a back that have been giving out over the last few years. He carried a huge load tonight, 13 points, 17 rebounds, and stood tall behind Tim Duncan. They had each other's back tonight, and they were the dominant Twin Towers of old.
Well, you know, a poignant point at the end when Duncan and Robinson embraced, and Duncan and Robinson said to Duncan, "You're the best. I'm going to miss you." Well, I got news for you. Tim Duncan is going to miss David Robinson just as much.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
let's go for the trophy presentation down to the floor.
The NBA Championship and Most Valuable Player trophies. Please welcome ABC's Mike Tirico.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to honor the 2003 NBA champion, San Antonio Spurs. With us here at center court, the chairman of the Spurs, Mr. Peter Holt, his wife Juliana, the co-captains Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Somewhere up here is head coach Greg Popovich. Pop, come on up. Here for the presentation, the commissioner of the NBA, Mr. David Stern.
It was a great series. Congratulations to a worthy opponent, the New Jersey Nets. And what a year for San Antonio. One of the greats we get a chance to say goodbye to tonight, David Robinson, thank you. To a team that had the best record in the league, that had the coach of the year, the repeat MVP, and now this. Congratulations to Peter and Juliana, to the entire Spurs organization, and to this great city of San Antonio for your 2003 NBA champion, San Antonio Spurs.
Mr. Holt, not a bad way to open up a new building.
Oh, what a great way. Thank you to our great fans. What a fantastic year we've had.
Congratulations. Where's Greg Popovich, the head coach? Greg, come on up here. Typical Greg Popovich, letting the players enjoy the moment. You are one of very few men, just a dozen, to have won 2 NBA championships as a head coach. Is this one any more satisfying than the one in '99?
Each one is wonderful in its own way, and neither one of them would have happened except for one thing. We got the greatest guys in the world.
Congratulations, Pop. Time now to bring the commissioner back up for the presentation of the most valuable player.
What can I say? He led his team in points, in rebounds, in blocks, and assists for this entire series. Your 2-time consecutive NBA MVP is the most valuable player of the 2003 NBA Finals. Congratulations, Tim Duncan.
Tim, not only do you go out this season with the regular season and the finals MVP, you become the first man in 10 years to have a triple-double in the NBA Finals in a single game. Was tonight any tougher than any of the other games along the way in this series?
Absolutely, it was. Those guys didn't want to go home. They didn't want to give up, but our team stuck with it. Our guys were incredible tonight. We played the whole way through. Just a lot of credit to our guys.
Same thing I asked Pop. Is this one any sweeter than '99?
It is, because it's now.
A word about your running mate, the other 7-footer, David Robinson, as he says goodbye.
Yeah, I hate to see him go. We're going to try to talk him into coming back another year, but I don't know if that's going to work.
Congratulations, Tim Duncan. Does anybody want to hear from David Robinson? Where are you, David? David Robinson, a champion. On Father's Day, on your way out, your dad, your kids here, you couldn't write a better script. What words to the fans in San Antonio and those watching around the world as you say goodbye to the NBA as a player?
Everybody here in San Antonio especially knows what I'm going to say. Man, I just praise the Lord because he carried us through this year. He gave us a solid foundation. And I tell you what, I will give Peter Holt, Greg Popovich, RC, credit for bringing in some fantastic guys. We played together. We won this thing together. Man, I love these guys. They're awesome.
Tim Duncan, David Robinson, the 2003 NBA champion, San Antonio Spurs. Once again.
Well, Rick, just quickly after the victory, David Robinson said something very important. They got the right group of guys together around Tim Duncan.
It's so important to have